Janet in Mount Vernon, Washington. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, Congressman Pocan. I have a question about the renegotiation of NAFTA, which is going on, and my understanding is that, at least according to Public Citizen, they had a lengthy article in their last issue, and it's being steered primarily by the oil companies and pharmaceuticals. And the pharmaceutical part is, I can tell you personally, I take a very expensive drug, and I order it from Canada. And my fear is that, A, they're going to stop the importation of drugs from Canada, and B, that basically also the other part is that they don't really want to lower drug prices, the pharmaceuticals. They want everyone else to pay more. But this is where you come in, because this has to go through the House. So what I want to know is, what is the House doing to stay on top of this so that the price of pharmaceuticals, which at least, you know, some people at this point can actually get for a reasonable cost by importing them through Canada, that this is just not going to become a big, big mess.
And Congressman, if I could add, we had Lori Wallach on the program for about 10 minutes yesterday talking about this. She is the director, or whatever her title is, the big cheese over at Global Trade Watch, tradewatch.org. And boy, if you ever need an expert or somebody to talk to about this issue or any of the trade issues, she is top of the list.
Yeah, I know Lori very, very well. She's from Wisconsin, my home state. So,
there you go.
Yeah. So we go back and we work with her very closely. In fact, I was going to let Janet know there's probably two major flaws right now that we try to highlight about this, you know, barely different NAFTA, because it's not all that different. The president, again, is flying on that, but I know no one's surprised. One part of it is there are marginally better labor protections, but there's no enforcement of them. So without that, that's meaningless language, the marginal improvements that are there. The second part is on this, where they've made it so that some types of pharmaceuticals have longer protection periods than they currently did, and some other parts of this that are going to be detrimental to how we are trying to do right now with pharmaceutical drugs. I mean, a big fight we have right now is trying to be able to negotiate for cheaper drug prices through Medicare. We've got a number of other provisions. You're going to see a bill from the Democrats coming out very soon on prescription drugs, and this runs completely counter to that. So those are two major problems with that. We're very aware of those, Janet. We're working with Public Citizen, specifically Lori Wallach, and the unions and the environmental groups and the consumer groups on this. And I think right now it would have a hard time passing through Congress, and it has to before it ever becomes law. So even when the president says this is how he's going to pay for the wall, that's not true, because it's not law yet, and it's going to have a hard time passing Congress in its current form.
Well, plus it's not going to generate that much extra revenue. Congressman, we just have 30 seconds to the break. How do you see Democrats using this issue? I mean, Sherrod Brown has been using this issue for years and years, very effectively, to win re-election in Ohio and to actually try to move the needle, too. He just hasn't had a lot of support, either from the Republicans or from kind of the old Bill Clinton faction of the Democratic Party.
You know, this issue helps us put a major hole in Donald Trump's narrative about what he said about trade and what he says about prescription drug prices. So there is a connection between this, and we're actually sitting down with Villa Jayapal, the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, and I, with a pollster, I believe, Thursday to go over some of this very data.
Great. Okay, it's Congressman Mark Pocan taking your calls for the hour on Middays with Mark here on the Thom Hartmann Program. 20 minutes past the hour and a few seconds past that, and we'll be back with more of your calls for the Congressman in just a moment.